Hi, welcome everyone to this Tuesday, March 28th, 2023 business meeting of the Oyster Bay East Norwich Central School District. Can everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Okay, I would like to turn this over now. Let's see, is there any correspondence? Ms. Santos, is there any correspondence?
Yes, one email 327 from William Henry regarding varsity baseball.
Okay, thank you. And now I'd like to turn it over to Dr. Yanni for the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Ms. Kowalski, and good evening, everybody. This week, we had engineering on Thursday, March 16th. 13 local engineers visited Oyster Bay High School to engage in real-world design problems with our own students from the technology department. It was powerful for students to see two alumni leading several discussions. Mr. Schlendorf and Ms. Malajan designed a great event for students to problem solve, apply what they have learned, and network with experts in the field. Our main goal is to expand on this type of work to make sure that once the innovation lab is ready to go, the students have work to do and they are ready. So great job on that end. The turf field has been completed, and last week we had our first official game. It was great. It finally came alive with students, a game, referees, and everything. And it was amazing to see the community congratulating us on the great work. We have a ribbon cutting ceremony on April 29th. Save the date, mark your calendar. We would love to have the entire community there. Last Friday, March 14th, the class of 2024 hosted the very first Oyster Bay High School fashion show. Over 40 students participated in this event, along with some staff members. We had the principal, acting principal, we had assistant principal, myself. We had a good time. The event was spearheaded by Olivia Gallo, who worked with 8 different stores who donated tuxedos and clothing for the event for the models to wear. The event was not only fun but incredibly successful. They raised over $2,000, and there are plans already for next year to have another event. So great job, and everybody, and Olivia for doing promoting this event. World Language and Business Society induction was last week. It was a great ceremony, and it was quite impressive to see all the students on stage. Some of them running from the fields, still with clothes, with the softball clothes on, and baseball. So it was nice, and really shows the well-rounded students, type of students that we have. We had last week. We also had the 4th grade American Revolution study celebration. Students presented work in their classrooms, and the parents were able to attend, and they created games utilizing technology. So it was amazing to see how 4th graders can do a Jeopardy game and do it on the computer. It was everybody had a lot of fun. In terms of the arts, 15 talented student artists that they work displayed at the 19th annual Nassau Old County Art Exhibition it was at Long Beach High School. Hosted several of our students, and we had our own high school senior, Grace Maldonado, was presented with a scholarship during the event. So we want to congratulate all our art students for their great work. In music, we had the NISBA. All students, we had almost 150, I believe 157 students who participated, and they all had outstanding and excellent scores, and 5 students end up with a perfect score. And the last thing was on 3/14, we had a Pi Day celebration all across the district, and there was students at every level from kindergarten all the way to senior, where they were doing all different sorts of activities celebrating the Pi Day. So congratulations to all. It was a great month. It went fast. I can't believe it's already April, but that's what we had this month. And now I think we can just pass it to Ms. Raynaud for the third budget presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. This evening, I'm pleased to present the third budget presentation for the 23-24 school year. As always, this presentation is posted on board docs with the meeting agenda, as well as on the website under the budget page. The Oyster Bay East Norwich budget is developed with the vision of empowering all students to achieve excellence and the mission to continue to make Oyster Bay East Norwich the best and most innovative school in the nation. As our work continues to develop the budget, our focus remains to remain within the cap, to align the resources to the best possible education opportunities, while we're continuing the routine maintenance on our buildings as we continue through the 21st century capital improvement projects, maintenance on the everyday buildings, as well as remaining fiscally responsible and to strengthen our long-term condition. Tonight's presentation will provide an overview of the budget, both of the expenditure and the revenue side, as well as presenting further information from last presentation on the capital reserve projects, which includes both facilities and technology, and as well as the timeline of the budget as we move forward towards May. Starting with the budget view, as we build the budget, our revenues must equal our expenditure sides. The revenue side of the budget is comprised of the tax levy, the state aid we receive, reserve and fund balance, as well as other revenues such as lease of facilities, non-resident tuition, and interest income. Looking at the expense side of the budget, it's primarily comprised of the salaries and benefits for the district, as well as the contractual services. Starting with the revenue and looking further into details, this provides an overview of where our revenue comes from. We see the primary source is our tax levy at 88.2%, with state aid and other revenue comprising of the rest. Putting some numbers to these percentages, this is a breakdown of the current revenue budget for 23-24 and looking back to the prior year. You can see the state aid along the top is a slight increase, which I'm going to go further into in the next few slides, as well as the tax levy, which I will talk about further with the cap. This is an overview of our aid. So although you do see on that first line that our foundation aid is a slight increase from last year, it's important for us to note that we are one of 6 districts in Nassau County that receive the minimum 3% aid increase, which is about $55,000. The second line represents our expense-driven aid for the district, which is a slight increase of about $130,000. These next 2 slides provide 3-year look back of our fund balance and reserves. This allows us to support the budget by appropriating about $500,000 in reserves and a 1.5 in fund balance. This helps us maintain a budget within the cap, as well as planning for year-to-year budget fluctuations. This year we had to pay careful attention, as we've heard over the previous few presentations. The consumer price index, the high rate of inflation, has been up at 8%. Since the enactment of the property tax cap, there's always that confusion of the 2% versus the consumer price index. They are not equal, and when we put this number into our tax cap, we are looking at the lesser of CPI at 8% and the 2%. Therefore, 2% is the number we are using in our tax cap formula this year. This shows you a multi-year look back of where it is since the tax cap in place in 2012. You can see here last year, as we spoke about, as well as earlier this year in January, the comptroller came out with these numbers in January of 2023, indicating this sharp increase in CPI, although the tax cap is, the allowable growth levy factor is capped at that 2%. So all the way on the far right of this graph, you can see the challenge we face with our inflation rate being so high with our cap. So the numbers is one of the primary drivers into this formula, where we figure out what we are able to propose to the community to stay within the cap. So on the bottom of the screen, you do see the proposed levy of $56,800,000 approximately will allow us to have a increase of 2.34 as our tax levy limit. This formula is driven by the Office of State Comptroller's Office. So that is our number for this year, and we are proposing a budget for the 23-24 school year, which is within the allowable levy limit. Putting the numbers together, our revenue budget, which I showed on the first slide, putting it with our tax levy within the cap, gives us an approximate proposed budget for the 23-24 school year of just over $64 million. Looking at the expense side of the budget, you will see all the categories here, again, compared to the prior year, with salaries and wages and benefits being right at the top of it, although you do see that the benefits is a high increase this year, as we've seen across many categories. Insurance costs this year have been drastically increased. So putting this into a pie chart so you visually see how this is, the blue is that salaries and wages, the red is the benefits. Transportation is also a very large cost in this budget. Those are the numbers looking year to year. Again, a slight increase of about $2.3 million. Again, to reiterate, it's within the allowable tax levy cap. Looking at our capital reserves, I presented on this last time as well. Going into a little bit more detail, what's really important is that we are continuing to use and fund our reserves year after year to support not only our long-term facility plans, but also our long-term financial position in the district. So the capital projects you will see this year will be Proposition 2 and Proposition 3, where Proposition 1 will remain to be the budget. The first one would be Proposition 2, which will talk about some of the facility projects that will go on throughout the district. Starting at the high school, the main entrance seating wall, which I'll show a picture of on a future slide, will allow an opportunity for our students who are waiting out in the McCoon's Lane to not be on the roadway, not be on the rampway, provide a safe place for our students to wait as they're waiting for pickups. The auditorium sound and lighting upgrades, you can see some of the work with the broadcasting crew up top and the balcony here, some of the work that was done here last year, continuing that work in this amazing, beautiful space, just getting our lights, some of it repaired, some of it is enhancing it. For those of you who were here for the fashion show on Friday, saw the amazing lights that went along with our models on stage. The tennis court lighting is a smaller project, but it's something that is certainly necessary, primarily in the fall. As it gets darker earlier, some of our tennis match either need to be relocated or not able to play throughout because it gets very, very dark out there. So just minor tennis court lights to be able to allow those matches in the fall to occur. And the replacement of the marquee sign, the sign that Oyster Bay High School does not represent the middle school, and it's also an older sign, so that's just a small replacement. At James H. Vernon, we are looking at a slightly larger project in the library, which is a nice main space for the instruction over at the James H. Vernon School. This will allow a project of both a replacement of a much-needed HVAC system, which is beyond repair and outdated, as well as some ceiling and lighting upgrade replacement for more energy efficiency. It is important to note, although this will be using about $160,000 from the capital reserve, we do have preliminary grant approval for about $100,000 that will be reimbursed after the completion of the project. Memorial Stadium, as you know, is very much used for our athletes and our students down there. There are some minor repairs to make sure the building stays in good condition through roof and concrete work. And at the administration building, just another HVAC system that is beyond repair, beyond its useful life expectancy, so to again replace it with something more energy efficient over at the administration building across from the Lane. So this cost is based on estimates about $750,000, again proposed as Proposition 2 on the ballot this year. So this is a rendering of what it will be. This is if you're standing at McCoon's Lane looking up at the ramp to the main entrance. You see this would provide, again, like I said, a spot for the students to sit off of the roadway and off of the ramp space. The technology projects, again, comes out of the capital reserve, but this allows us to fund our multi-year technology, which primary focus is the one-to-one devices for our students. Students in the TR in kindergarten, first and second grade have a one-to-one device with an iPad. Where they move into third grade, they're given a Chromebook for a one-to-one device, which they then take home. Then right now they're being replaced in seventh grade. We are moving that to eighth grade to make sure that the Chromebooks are in the best condition possible to last them right through their senior year. So this first cost would be for the replacement of those devices for those students, and a multi-year plan of replacing the interactive whiteboards, interactive smart boards that are in each of the classrooms. This is just puts a cycle of replacing some of the older boards over the next few years. So this is the timeline for the budget. Like I keep talking about, the ballot and the vote will be in May. We are right on target. This was the third presentation. The next presentation will be with the budget adoption, following a budget hearing on May 2nd and then vote on May 16th. The dates are all up here. It's also important to note that this is also posted to the website for all the information along with any other budget materials. District clerk's information is up there as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Rayner. Let's move on to the approval of minutes. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Let's move on to public participation for agenda items. In accordance with the open meetings law, school board meetings where school district business will be discussed are open to the public. The Oyster Bay East Norwich Board of Education welcomes public comment at its meetings. The Board of Education will respond to comments and or inquiries in the appropriate manner. This portion of the meeting is designed exclusively for agenda items. A sign-in book is provided for those residents wishing to address the board. In order to be recognized, you must be signed in. Each speaker will be allowed a maximum of 3 minutes. The board president will call you to the microphone in the order in which you have signed in. Public discussion is prohibited regarding matters relating to an individual's reputation, privacy, or right to due process, which in some way could be violated. A second commentary period is provided for non-agenda items prior to adjournment. We thank you for your participation and cooperation. Has anyone signed in for the agenda items? Okay, let's move on to instructional personnel items. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education of the Oyster Bay East Norwich Central School District hereby approves the instructional personnel items as listed in their entirety. Do I have a motion? Second? Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Let's move on to non-instructional personnel items. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education of the Oyster Bay East Norwich Central School District hereby approves the non-instructional personnel items as listed in their entirety. Do I have a motion? So moved. Second? Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Let's move on to business items. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education of the Oyster Bay East Norwich Central School District hereby approves the business items as listed in their entirety. Do I have a motion? So moved. Second? Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Let's move on to special services. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education of the Oyster Bay East Norwich Central School District hereby approves the special services resolution as listed in their entirety. Do I have a motion? Second? Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. New business. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education of the Oyster Bay East Norwich Central School District hereby approves the new business resolutions as listed in their entirety. Do I have a motion? So moved. Second? Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Now we're moving on to public participation on non-agenda items. Do we have someone who signed in? Mr. Todd Ruff.
I'm here to discuss for the first time in Oyster Bay High School history, there is not a junior varsity baseball team. And I'm asking this Board of Education to do a complete review of why not. Now, you're going to hear that there's not enough numbers, and that's not correct. And I think our children deserve more than that. We have almost 20 kids in a varsity program. Many will never see the field this year. Between the 7th and 8th grade boys baseball team, there's over 30 kids. Now, we have demonstrated as a high school that we push kids up. Some will say that you shouldn't move a 7th grader or 8th grader up. but we have in this high school. And I think that a full review needs to be done because a junior varsity program is developed to help feed the varsity program. And for us to sit here as Oyster Bay, a baseball town, not fielding a JV team and calling it quits on that team at the 11th hour before rosters are due to the district is unjust. And I'm asking this Board of Education to take a deep dive into this. Because as of today, standing here, I have not seen one memo from this high school athletic department saying that we do not have a junior varsity program. It's been canceled because we don't have numbers. Now, I was given the honor, and I appreciate the time that Dr. Yanni spent with me, as well as Eric Brimhoff, the athletic director. But the numbers are there. I'm asking for the truth, and our community deserves the truth. Because this is a baseball town. And I think our school, our kids, and the parents deserve to know the truth. Because I truly believe it's an embarrassment to this school for what we have developed over the years, this school has developed. To not do that and to give our children that opportunity is just unacceptable. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ruff. And that was it. That was signed in, right? Yes. Okay, that ends our meeting for tonight. I'd like to motion to adjourn the meeting. So moved. Second. Thank you, everyone.